We have been talking about how men weaponize food and how sometimes it's their brothers, it's their fathers, it's their romantic partners, and sometimes it's people's mothers as well. A woman jumped into my comments to tell me that there was an Am I the A-hole post that matches this commentary precisely. So this young lady, and she is young because she's 17 years old, she says, "Am I the a-hole for laughing when my brother was diagnosed with diabetes?" When women and girls ask these types of questions in the Am I the a-hole subreddit, they're simply looking for validation for feeling normal human emotions. She was laughing, but I'm sure that her brother was bullying her or something. We've seen these stories way too much. But let's look at the post. All right, so she says, for context, I, 17-year-old girl, has two siblings. My older brother, who I'll call Jay, is 21, and my little sister, who's 7. For the longest while, ever since I started puberty, my family would not stop calling me fat. I'm 140 pounds. My doctors say that's normal weight, but to my family, it's considered fat. Jay, however, is the most active participant in calling me overweight. He always tells me that I'm going to die from heart disease or be diagnosed with diabetes because I eat too much. But Jay eats way more than I do. He just sits around the house doing nothing. And the excuse I get is that he's a growing boy, so he must eat. He's a boy at 21. Okay. On my birthday, I don't get cake or any special meal, but Jay does. When I make dinner, my mom tells me to make a lot, so Jay is able to eat all he wants. But when anything finishes in the house, who gets blamed? Me, even if I've never touched it. A whole liter of juice, finished by me, even if I took only 1 cup. Snacks, I finish them. Leftover dinner, me. Everything is always finished by me, no matter how much I try to prove that I didn't do it. Eventually, I stopped putting up a fight because I knew it wasn't me, and arguing with people who were dead set on believing you ate everything you didn't get anywhere. I go to school from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. I don't eat breakfast or lunch, and when I get home, the only thing I eat is dinner. I go to bed around 10 and wake up at 5 to get ready for school. So how could I finish anything in the house? A few weeks ago, Jay came out of his room one day and told our mother that he didn't feel well, so she took him to the doctor. He told the doctor that he was feeling sluggish and dehydrated for the longest while, so the doctor told him to get his blood tested, and that's what he did. And what do you know? He was told he had diabetes, type 2 to be exact. I watched as my mom and Jay stared at the lab results in utter shock and disbelief. Jay was so dumbfounded that I couldn't help but laugh. Jay and our mom looked at me with a mixture of shame and rage. My mom grabbed me and had me get a blood test as well, because apparently if Jay had it, so did I. But when the lab showed that I was healthy, I laughed even harder this time. My mom went ahead and told the entire extended family that I laughed at my unfortunate brother instead of feeling sorry for him. And now I'm being lashed out at by everyone. And since Jay's food intake has been restricted, everything in the house has been spoiling. So am I the a-hole? I say absolutely not, because the mom and the brother in this case were bullying this girl, because she's 17 years old. They were fat shaming her to the point where she's not even eating except 1 meal a day. And that is not healthy for a 17-year-old girl. That's just completely out of control. And to constantly be calling this teenage girl fat and overweight, and she's growing, they're just attempting to they just want to give her some body image issues. I cannot stand this, and I can't stand women being these boy moms and just letting them do whatever they want. She's not the a-hole. He deserved it. This mom deserved it. They can rage out as much as they want. But this girl, she knows that she has to know that she's not safe in this house and that she needs to get out as quickly as possible. Hopefully college or some university will be her refuge to get away from these people. So Mental Woodpecker is honing in on, and since Jay's food intake has been restricted, everything in the house has been spoiling, saying, but I thought you were the one eating everything. Mental Woodpecker says, I personally would be so petty every time I took the time to throw spoiled food away, or whenever I saw mom throwing something away. She'd be like, oh wow, I can't believe that the pasta is already bad. Wouldn't I have eaten that by now? Weird. Vichangelo says, this is what happened when my brother left the house. I was always blamed for food being eaten, even though I literally had to have a portion of leftovers to have any. The only reason my mom finally faced that it wasn't me was when she continued to cook 5 boxes of mac and cheese for 3 people instead of 4, and there was a ton of leftovers for every meal, and leftovers still in the fridge and not disappearing mysteriously the next day. The mystery has been solved. Dun, dun, dun. Oh no, says, this reminds me of when my older brother left for college and we ended up having to throw out 2 gallons of expired milk a few weeks later because turns out he was the one drinking it all. Before he left, our normal weekly grocery haul included at least 5 gallons of milk. After he left, it was down to maybe 1. The Great Potato says, one person was drinking 4 gallons of milk a week? That's so excessive and obnoxious. Additional Reed says, when my nephew was a teenager, he used to come home from school and eat cereal out of mixing bowls. So my sister was constantly buying milk and cereal. Competitive Mark says, yep, growing up in our family of 4, parents, me, and a little brother, my mom used to say we should buy a cow because of all the milk we went through. It wasn't her or me. Little bro and dad would eat so much cereal, like so much, for snacks, late night, a huge bowl. Now they only have the half gallons in their fridge for dad that we've grown up and moved out. Turns out teenage boys eat a metric ton every day. I am not ready for this stage of life. As my boy child is only 11, I am not ready for all of the food that boys must eat, but hopefully not to this extent where it's just getting ridiculous like this. This just seems obnoxious, like someone else said. Additional Reed says, my brother was a bottomless pit too. He was bad as a teenager, but he actually ate like this his entire life. Watching him pig out used to literally make me lose my appetite, which might have been his plan because he'd inhale his food and then look at mine and ask if I was going to eat it. Wow. One Dare says, are you my older sister? And then Additional Reed says, I'm the younger sister. I was more likely to be his victim. So now people are just simply talking about the way that brothers and dads are the ones eating up all the food. But regardless, this girl in this case is not the a-hole. I did want to get to this comment before I got out of this one. So Not a Starry Sky says, not the a-hole. The golden child had karma happen to him. Why is he still living at home at 21 years of age? And to that, she says, because he doesn't have a job and he's not trying to find one either. Nick says, he sounds like a clown, not the a-hole. That's what he gets for being a bully. And with that, I will end it. Y'all let me know what you think about this one. As I've been talking about these things, people keep sending me story times. So this woman says, hi, Burb, someone from the middle of Europe here. I want to say first that I really love your content and it taught me a lot. I'm thankful for every lesson there is, and I'm making sure to share the wisdom, especially with my little siblings, 7 and 4, and my stepmom. I just watched a video of yours about weaponizing food, and the way it was described in that video, it struck a really big nerve and hit some flashbacks that I wasn't ready for. But it doesn't come from a man in my life. It actually comes from my biological mother. I remember that she never had a full fridge the entire 14 years I lived with her. Okay, not entirely true. While she was married to my father, the fridge was indeed full. It started with the fatphobic comments here and there, and the Darvo when I would put extra salt on the food she cooked. Then there was the reducing of all sweets, the lunch boxes that more than once landed in the trash because I didn't like what she made, and more Darvo when I complained about the texture of the bread she put in my lunchbox. Then there was a push to put me into sports, which didn't work. Then Darvo whenever me and my brother were at our dad for every other weekend and came home and talked about how we ate pizza and fast food. I know not healthy and all, but heaven during that time because there was nothing like that at my mother's. Then there was the force to try to make me eat certain stuff like uncooked paprika. I get sick from the smell alone, but I was forced to try it at least every other month, or like forcing me to eat grilled skin of grilled chicken or chicken with bones in it. Nothing against chicken, but that just creeps me out. Then there was the confiscating of any gifted sweets or snacks for birthdays or Christmas. Then there's the fact that she got mad when I tried to cook for myself something my dad taught me. Want to know what it was? Fried eggs with salt, pepper, and toast and ketchup. I got yelled at about how I didn't clean it properly, that I wasn't allowed to touch the stove. For reference, I was 11. Then came the backpack checks. My dad gave me pocket money every month to do with what I wanted. I bought sweets and hid them in my backpack. I got extremely sneaky in ways that I tried to bring food into my bedroom. I feel embarrassed now anytime I eat something like that in front of other people. Thanks to that and some ignored and undiagnosed ADHD and autism, I never learned to, maybe she meant to say, I never learned to eat actually healthy and regularly. And I starved myself without realizing, and I was binge eating, and I was in a bad mood. So 2 eating disorders followed me to overweighing a lot, even as a teen and still now. Oh, and I was followed from my home to bus stop to see if I would buy something from the deli that I passed every morning. So this mom just really sounds like a control freak. All that and many more things resulted in other pretty destructive behavior on my side, towards myself and other people around me. But apparently that wasn't enough to either be sent to someone who could help me. I was 14 years old when I moved to my father's, who's not perfect, but constantly worsening in his abusive behaviors. But he was the one to teach me how to do my own laundry, to cook, to look at prices while grocery shopping, ask for help if I needed it, the minimum requirements for proper adulting, which allowed me to move out at 19 and live in another country for 3 years. And now I am fully no contact with my bio mom, with that still clinging hope in the back of my mind that she might change for the better. I don't know if that helps anyone, but I wanted to share my story. Best regards. The reason why I like to share these stories is because you have no idea how somebody ended up the way that they are. Some people are overweight and unhealthy, maybe because they were compensating for something, maybe because there was abuse in their house, maybe because they had to sneak and eat food because they were being restricted by their abusive parents. You never really know how people got to these situations. And sometimes when people, are doing the whole concern trolling, where they're talking mess about overweight people and how unhealthy they are, sometimes you have got to get to the deeper issues that go along with these types of things, that sometimes it is mental or there's trauma associated with food, and not pass so much judgment before you attempt to get to the root cause of things. Okay, y'all, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this. I appreciate everybody taking the time to send me in these story times. Don't forget to like, comment. I follow the Ask Women Over 60 subreddit. I like to see what the older ladies are talking about. The name got cut off, but I do like to follow them. This is a post from a few days ago. The woman asked the question, is it just me or are the men falling apart? Real short post. She says, now my own spouse is long gone. His issues stem from severe childhood trauma, but as he approaches 60, things are just getting worse. And when I speak to my friends, there seems to be an absolute epidemic of dissatisfied men, constant complaints about work, aches and pains, lack of friends, not enough sex. Meanwhile, we are working at yoga, book club, volunteering at food pantries, etc. In my experience, women just figure it out and men just don't. How often are we seeing this? And this is a woman who is married, and obviously she has friends that are married. What is this issue? They just refuse to make friends. And, we were talking about the whole man keeping thing, where women become their everything, like their romantic partner becomes their everything. But women are having interest outside of their spouse. And it's apparent because so many different women are talking about this in many different spaces. Significant Yam says, I divorced my husband after being together 17 years. Left November 2021, divorce final October 13th, 2023. I pay him alimony. I'm 62. We are on great terms now. Unfortunately, he has terminal cancer, small cell lung cancer, and I'm going to be there for him until the end. This will most likely be his last Christmas. His 60th birthday is in June. Don't know if he'll make it then either. She says, I own my own home and pay the mortgage on my old house that he lives in. I have my dog, I have my friends, my stepkids who I helped raise, and 5 grandchildren. I have zero interest in another man. I'm good on my own. And I just wanted us to see this because I have a feeling that we will see more and more of these situations where the woman is paying alimony. Not that many people get alimony, but we are seeing more and more breadwinner type of relationships where the woman is the breadwinner versus the man. This is gender neutral. It's who is making the most money in the relationship and how, dividing up marital assets. Sometimes it ends up that the woman pays. Feeling Bullfrog says, bless you for your beautiful heart. That is very kind of her to stick and stay with this man. I'm glad that she does have her own space that she can go to decompress. Doc Queen says, I love your attitude that you're not bitter. I divorced my second husband after 4 years of marriage. He just went nuts. After a few years, we could talk and actually became friendly, but I had no inclination to get back together. He was very fond of my children from my first marriage. He was fairly well off and estranged from his family. He died in 2013 from non-small lung cancer with me by his side. He left the bulk of his considerable estate to me and my 2 children, who helped care for him during his illness. Significant Yam says, it was extremely important to me that our grandkids grow up without acrimony. As a child of divorce, my mom cursed my dad until the day she died at 86, and he had been dead for 30 years. We have to model appropriate behavior so the next generations see that relationships might end, but the love doesn't. I mean, that is definitely a way to put it, but I don't begrudge women for being bitter if that is the appropriate response for how they were treated. Yes, you would hope that they eventually heal, but there's not going to always be this kumbaya, let's come together and make sure that he's okay, because some people will be like, he died to me. He died a long time ago to me, and just leave that chapter in the past. True Math says, you're a badass. Lynette says, my husband is a few years younger than I. We are both over 60. He is still doing great, cooking, maintaining the house and car, pursuing hobbies, building relationships. He is my constant companion and a true role model, which is good to see that there are some balanced people out. The OP says he sounds like a keeper. Lynette says he is. Meep says, my husband is younger than me too. I'm 61, he's 57. We've been together many years. We do many things together, but also have our own friend groups. It works well for us. Our kids are grown and flown the nest, and it's nice to know we still like each other. I do like to show the balance of comments because not everybody has a dude that's just a curmudgeon and Starflower says, same. He's doing better than I am. Actually, as far as health, I'm much closer to falling apart than he is. We've supported each other through a lot of ups and downs, and our relationship gets stronger all the time. I'm sorry for those experiencing the opposite. Extension Mini says, I am over 60 as well, and I am truly happy for you. Erk says, you are blessed. No Map says, I'm in the dating world and have had to tighten up my max age I will date for just this reason. My life is full of adventures and activities. The men are incredibly boring, poor physical and mental shape, and do not offer a fraction of what I offer. I have ended things with every man I've dated. I am not introducing any stress to my life. No Map is like, no sir, no ma'am, I cannot do this. Scrazer in the middle says, I've been divorced for almost 35 years. I've dated and had several marriage proposals, but I haven't found any man who would offer reciprocation. Reciprocity, that is a word that we're seeing more and more. They either want a mommy sex worker, want to control me, or they have their eye on my paycheck. I like to say that it's my generation, but it appears that younger women have the same problem. It's the way civilization has taught men and boys that women are an appliance and they can do what they want with their property. I'm done. See? I tell women's stories, and women are saying the same thing across all these generations, across social media platforms, across culture, across race, across country of origin. Women are saying very similar things. And here at the bottom, she says nurse or a purse. And Inga Wolfie says, yep, I am neither. Women are saying we're not going to be your wife appliance. We're not going to be a nurse in a purse. We're not. And this is the reason why many of the dudes are failing and flailing, because they have to properly learn how to adult and treat women with humanity. This is No Map again. Her name gets cut off, but she says, I have dialed back my interest to about 10%. I found the men who participate in the activities I enjoy much more appealing than men on the apps. I will flirt a bit and move on along. Life is absolutely amazing single after being coupled for 31 years. This name, Moist Donut, that is hilarious to me for some reason. She says, I am recently divorced and I'm going to have standards too. If any prospect brings nothing to the table, and by that I also include a good attitude and outlook on life, he's out before he even starts. I just divorced my second husband, who is on the brink of needing a nurse and is lazy and entitled to the max. I do not need version 2.0 of him. No Map says, stay safe. Moist Donut says, I am twice divorced now. The third time will not happen because I do not believe the third time is the charm. She says, absolutely not. We're not doing this again. I'm not going down that road. I'll end with this screenshot. Complex Anybody says, I just walked away from a 46-year relationship. Over the last 2 years, my husband lost his ever-loving mind and got into everything naughty and crossed a few boundaries I'm not prepared to talk about, all the while getting increasingly hostile to me. When I told him I was feeling sad and lonely last year, he screamed at me and is now trying to tell me the reason for his behavior was because he was feeling sad and lonely. I told him it's 2025 and nobody needs to be with someone if they don't want to. I won't ever be looking to accommodate another man. If they can abandon you after 46 years, there's just no hope for any of them. Neat Sprinkle says, are you me? I could have written this and changed only a couple of numbers. 49 years relationship, 12 years of naughty before the truth caught up with him. I'm so done. Good luck to you. And good luck to everybody. You never know, like, these women are ending things after 30, 40, 50 years or whatnot. Who they married is not who they divorced. So that's where we have to get and understand that who you marry is not going to be who you divorce. You have to be willing to choose yourself and figure out what you will do in the aftermath, or if someone loses their ever loving mind. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. We've been talking about there needs to be an old man mojo dojo casa house, like a community where old men who have run off their family, run off their ex-wives, make sure that they have no friends, a community where they come together and men have to take care of their own needs like adults. So we've been talking about the old man mojo dojo casa house, and this is a man who posted this one. He says, widowed father, still resentful he has to do dishes and laundry because his wife appliance was supposed to be doing that, and now that he's widowed, he has to do adult things by himself. All right, so he says, my mother passed from cancer several years ago. My father, born in the early 50s, has not dealt with it well and has refused all attempts at his sons, helping or therapy. Background, my dad ran a small business and my mom, after having me, left her previous career path to go in as his part-time secretary. She was in the office with him twice a week for minimum wage and did the housework the rest of the week. Today, while out to lunch with my father, we only do this every other month because of his anger issues. He talked about how he really misses my mother, especially because now there's no one else to do the laundry or the dishes. That's what he misses, someone to do the laundry and the dishes. I listened and nodded. This has been a familiar conversation since mom died. I reminded him that I am the primary cook, dishwasher, and laundry person for my household. His response was an angry one. It's different for your generation. In my generation, the man brings home the bacon and the wife does the dishes and laundry. I made the mistake of asking him why he thought it was so easy for me to accept that I can do dishes and laundry without feeling resentful, but it's been such a struggle for him. His response was something like, my generation knows that there are certain responsibilities that men aren't supposed to do. Your generation is all mixed up. I let it go after that, and I'm glad my mom wasn't around to see him get so worked up. Any of you out there having similar experiences where your aging parents are absolutely rooted in their gender roles? He's so rooted in his gender roles that he's just never going to have clean clothes, that he's just never going to wash a dish. This is the thing about he's angry. This dude is angry because he has to clean up after himself. These dudes really bought into these gender roles so bad that they're not going to change. And the men of right now, they better get it together, because women are not so desperate for male validation. They're not so desperate for a husband, because women have the financial freedom that the women of the days of old did not have. Women had to connect with these men, for survival's sake. Women of right now do not have to. So men of right now are going to have to learn how to cook and clean, or they just won't have any clean dishes, any clean underwear, or a clean house at all. It's just going to be disgusting, and nobody's going to want to come over. This is where I was tagged in, and I wanted to put this here because this is something that we've been talking about. These dudes have better break out of these roles. They better break out of these mindsets right now. Shieldor says, I always wonder what happens when the men retire. The wife has to keep on laboring till she dies. No retirement for her, is there? Bookbat says, unless he goes first. In the year between my grandfather's death and the rapid acceleration of my grandmother's decline, I saw a side of her I'd never known before. She watched saucy TV shows and movies. She even wanted to see 50 Shades in theaters, but didn't want to go by herself. So we caught a matinee together, read scandalous books, and basically ate girl dinner every night. One of many any says, I have heard that widows report better happiness. From the New York Post. Losing your proverbial ball and chain may be beneficial to your health if you're an older woman, according to a surprising new study. Among older women, those who are widowed experience less stress and frailty than their married counterparts, according to the study by the University of Padova and the National Research Council's Institute of Neuroscience in Italy. But the reverse is true when it comes to older married men, who appear to have a lower risk of frailty than their unmarried or widowed peers. Lizbot says, men enjoy health at all ages when they're married, and they live longer because the wife is making them go to the doctor. The inverse is true for women on that front as well. And then she says, all I'm learning this decade is that we should only date and then put them back in their bachelor pad until they're a fully realized human being instead of a leech. Just put them back. Like, we can go on a couple of days, but then we got to put you back. So you do, like Cheese says, I recently had a patient in his 60s who was in the middle of a divorce and had moved in with his elderly mother. He was in the hospital for not managing his diabetes properly. Apparently, that had been his wife's responsibility. When it was time to discharge, he tried to have his bedside nurse teach his mom how to give him insulin shots because he didn't want to do it himself. She refused and told him that his mom was going to die before him and he needed to know how to do the shots. He was very butthurt about it. This man would rather die than learn how to manage his own health. Okay. Melodic Cobbler says, that is so effing embarrassing, like a little child. No Arugula says, a lot of men seem to be under the impression that all they need to do is have a job, that all the other life responsibilities belong to women. Some sort of, my mom took care of me, now it's your turn mentality. The wife and mom pipeline that I'm always talking about. She says, no, dude, your mom's responsibility was to make sure you survived to adulthood. Now you're supposed to be an adult. Too many seem to be laboring under the impression that because they are men, they are entitled to the benefits of adulthood, but none of the responsibilities of adulthood. And then the doctor at the bottom says, I hate dealing with these geriatric toddlers. They get so pissed off that they don't know that the answers to basic questions about their own health and medication. Like, sir, what did you think you'd be talking about at the doctor's office? Golf and football? They better learn this stuff. Nobody wants to take care of these man children. Mad Dog says, my mom and dad had the same dynamic, but my dad died suddenly of a heart attack at 58, around 24 years ago. That liberated my mom from running boomer daycare, which is what I call the endless state of servitude most boomer men assume their wives have signed up for. To be fair, my dad was a very nice and caring man, never domineering, and he did bring home the bacon and left my mother in a very comfortable position financially, good pension. But she stopped cooking the day he died since she always hated it. Whew, boomer daycare is what they're calling it. No more boomer daycare. These men are going to have to pay for the old man Mojo Dojo Casa House. They're going to have to start putting money aside so they can figure out where they're going to live. Lock Treasure Hunter, who is the OP, says boomer daycare is an excellent term for it. Going to use that. What's interesting, though, is the dynamic when the boy child is the one who's supposed to be the caretaker for a parent. Now, a girl child probably would have stepped in and done more, but boy children are not usually going to have the same dynamic. It's very interesting to watch. So many people put their focus on having boys. I need a boy. I need an heir. But they didn't really think this through, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Girl children, daughters are not supposed to be here to be your caretaker. We are not birthing laborers. Get that out of your brain. But the thing is, that is how many people look at their children. Who's going to take care of you when you die? I'm sorry, when you get old. Well, your children are not supposed to be the ones that, because they have their own lives as adults as well. I'll end with this one. So Right-Handed Tom says, my dad died and my mom just couldn't imagine doing man things like changing light bulbs, mowing, snow blowing, and handling mouse traps. Absolutely not. She quickly figured out ain't no one gonna come do it for her, and to literally everyone's surprise, she started learning. Now the OP says, my father leaves the light bulbs burned out until someone visits and then asks them to do it for him. He doesn't have very many visitors these days, and he doesn't understand that asking other people to do your chores means they don't want to come over and hang out. And with that, I will leave it there. Y'all join the conversation. Let me know what you think of all this. All of this goes together. So many of these stories coming out. I never run out of content. Never. All right, y'all. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, and share. I'm trying to get to 100,000 over on my YouTube page, so go ahead and hit subscribe.
Welcome to the Mojo Dojo Casa House. Are you an older gentleman with the emotional range of a brick? Did every woman in your life leave because you weren't like this when we met? Well, congratulations, King. You've unlocked early access to your final destination, the Mojo Dojo Casa House. That's right. A luxurious retirement mega complex, or moderate residential home for men who still think being right is a personality trait. Here, you'll enjoy top-tier amenities like communal remote control warfare at 5 p.m., daily arguments about thermostats, and unlimited opportunities to tell everyone how things used to be. So, pack your sandals, grab that one polo shirt you refuse to throw away, and come live out your golden years in the only place brave enough to gather you all together. Mojo Dojo Casa House, where the vibes are wrong, but the rent is right.
I've had a few Jamaican women reach out to me about recovery efforts in Jamaica after Hurricane Melissa. I am a content creator. I'm not a fundraiser. I'm not a nonprofit. And I know eventually down the line or something, or if anybody in my community knows about forming a nonprofit where we help raise funds for things like this, someone needs to let me know, because I do not know the firsthand of how to do all of that. But I'm putting it out there because, yes, I do know and understand that there are going to be disasters all the time. There are going to be situations all the time where women need some help. So that's the reason why I am doing this story. She says, "Hi, Bourbon Bougie. My name is Janelle, and I'm from a community close to Black River where the eye of Hurricane Melissa made landfall. I'm reaching out because my family and I have been affected by Hurricane Melissa. I know this is a lot to ask, but I'm hoping you might consider helping in some way, maybe by creating a GoFundMe or sharing resources that could make a real difference for us. Even if it's just listening to our story or sharing it, it would mean the world to me." She says, "I just want to be very honest with you. I've been following your content for a very long time, and I listen to your discussions every single morning before school. It's become a part of my day, and your perspective really resonates with me. Thank you for your positivity and wisdom you share every day. Is something I truly rely on." And then I was like, I don't really do fundraising. I don't. But if there are any people that know the resources, because I do know and understand there are, countrywide things that are happening for the whole island of Jamaica. I know that they are going to rebuild, but how do we get resources to individual people or whatnot? How do we connect with people? Someone jump into the comments and let me know, share resources or something. I have various inboxes where you can inbox me to talk to me. So far, Reddit and Instagram at Bourbon Bougie is the best place to reach out to me. And if you need to reach out to me, you can also send something to firefitnesscoach@gmail.com, because I do know and understand that we do need some kind of nonprofit or some kind of, church status, the feral feminist or something, some kind of nonprofit where we can start trying to figure out how to raise funds for women in need. After I told her that I would tell the story, this is what she said. She says, "Thank you so much for accepting my request and for your kind offer to talk about things in Asher Network. That is truly the perfect kind of help. The challenge is that I cannot provide a link right now because of the GoFundMe rules. Since I'm in Jamaica, I'm not one of their supported countries, which means I can't create an account to legally withdraw the funds myself. The only way to get a link is if a trusted person in your network who lives in a supported country like the US or Canada agrees to be the official GoFundMe organizer, meaning they create the account and receive the donations before sending them to me in Jamaica. That is why your offer to ask if anyone in my network knows how to help is exactly what I need. Could you please ask if someone is willing to step into that role to help them tell a compelling story? I already have videos of the damage to my school and neighboring communities that I can share with them immediately. This will help make the fundraiser incredibly strong and credible. It's so unfortunate that my hands are tied."